Голос ярко нормально. Блин. Голосом даже TQ, ребят. Голосом за TQ, да. Что такое? Тут мы голосуем за синюю команду.
Scoreboard is concerned, but I'm with you. We've got some
Голос комментатор тут базарит.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely looking like a bit of a competitive one this year around. Some roster changes already as well. Tufa leaving the Valets squad, now renamed to FA Mini Peckers in that fourth place position on that leaderboard. Bringing in as well Jubilee as well from the Ubers to Picks roster. And they didn't actually qualify this month, so a bit of a disaster for them when it came to April. Rough, as a dog would say. As far as the leaderboard is concerned, that's what it looks like now, but take a screenshot, because it's going to look very different after today. Calabresos and Maruecas is our first matchup. I believe that'll be here on the A stream. Of course, we are having two streams this time around. We got the A stream, which is well, it's right here. You're already here. You don't got to do nothing. If you want to check out the B stream, though, we do have event.brawlstars.com. And Trav, you're going to be here with us on the A stream. And as you take a look at these quarterfinals, no question. Just give me your feels. Open debate.
Honestly, I think all of these are such 50-50 matchups, to be honest with you. Calabraces obviously coming into this one as one of the favourites. But Team Queso level esports, and also obviously that Reese PL down at the bottom against Olympus squad. I think that's such 50-50 matchups. So if you do want to see some incredible gameplay, definitely make sure to check out the B stream. But also on the A stream, obviously, two amazing matchups too.
Кстати, третье, друзья, будет голосом за мини-пегас, либо за скалолазов, как хотите. Я поставил скалолазы на этом аккаунте на основе за мини-пегас.
Unfamiliar with, and they're going to go up against some known quantities arc, and I think that makes the prediction game kind of fun, because you gotta kind of say, all right, I know this team is this good, but there's a question mark coming up, and so
Ну,
who's
все
going to
запускай.
run with it?
Кого
Absolutely so.
поставили?
Some players haven't even competed since 2022, like Tubi on the recent PL roster. I mean, we're a little bit divided, and it's kind of unusual. We're very united normally in this region, but as Trav says, a lot of these matchups
Неплохо.
can be 50-50s. We've sided with SK Kalaetis in that quarterfinals 3. Trav going with FA Mini Peckers. I mean, they're a very accomplished squad. I don't blame him. But I mean, it's kind of one of those rarities to see a bit of divide in this region when it comes to our predictions. Very true. This is what we are all looking like. I am excited for RDP and see how those guys work out. By the way,
Да,
just a
пинг
side
говорит,
note,
что
maybe
можно
the
будет
major note
получить.
here, if you guys have your own
Сейчас.
predictions and y'all want to join our little caster party here
На
of
других
fun,
регионах
you can go to
тоже можно было получить.
event.brawlstars.com. I just mentioned you can find the B stream there. You can also find the prediction game there. Get yourself some free in-game stuff as a result. Cool stuff. Everybody aboard. So definitely turn up one more time. Event.brawlstars.com. I lied. It's not going to be the last time I say that. Trust me. Just making sure you're there. But Trav, last links here before we jump into our matchup.
Я просто ему просто кинул.
Anything you got to say before we say goodbye?
I mean, I just think it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal game. I mean, Kyle Dogadinho, Ficro, Alonso, Loco, and Christian. I mean, the 6 players playing here. Calabrasos definitely came out swinging in the previous month. Mawako's very solid roster. We've seen these names pop up so frequently as well. But honestly, I think the majority of people are going to side with Calabrasos here.
Дайте,
And
друзья.
Mark, how about you? Anything you got to say before we say goodbye? I mean, it's a phenomenal roster, I mean, they succeeded so well last month. They looked very, very effortless, let's be honest, when it came to the bracket. Only, not really many people could stand up against the might of them. Team Kesser got us set along the way, but that was basically it. I think that for me, this is the squad to beat right now in this region. I can't disagree with that. Calabrasos has been a strong look so far, and as I said, we'll catch up with Trav a little bit later, but Kyle Dog here, Ark, this is the guy. He's just really, he's strong, he's good, he's also fun to watch, I think. What's your breakdown on what KD brings to the team? I mean, for me, it's experience, consistency. I think that when it comes to this region as well, it's a very close-knit community, right? So I think having those long-term relationships and also having the skill to match, those are the things that can just make teams excel in the BSC. Yeah, I think you nailed it there. You said the veterancy, that experience. You're looking at a team that dropped a single set last monthly final. Marowakers certainly have their work cut out for them. Last time around, these guys fell down 3-0 in the quarters, so definitely need to step up. And, this is something that we're seeing more and more from these teams, the BSC. This is your premier league. This is what the culmination of competition is about. Y'all got to be in the same room together, I think, to look at what's going on here. And so I love to see Marowakers come out here. It's monthly finals. You're here in the QF, and they got to make the moves.
Yeah, I mean, they really do. And noticeable faces here. That's the main thing for me. On this camera, all of them together, playing together. around your team,
Нормально
to
берет.
do it quite swiftly.
Пикает у нас Стул, Бен, Джесси, Бан у нас, Анжела, Бан у нас. Бан. Ладно.
Opposing team, and with the unbreakable walls here, it's kind of tough to get that flank round on it without putting yourself in a bit of a compromised position. So I do think it's going to be a lot easier with this Jesse, but you know, it's the same for a Jesse as it is the sharpshooters. You can't overextend, you can't kind of put yourself out of position to try and just get that healing station down, because that's going to be even worse for you. But it's going to be the Poco and the Griff to come along with it. Usually, you know, if we see a Poco coming in here, we occasionally see a tank to follow it, but we're going to see the Griff come in and a little bit of wall break here. The Poco might struggle depending on what Calabresos choose to bring in as their last pick. So I feel it's maybe a little bit counterproductive.
I mean, the Poco, I feel, is just to answer the healing out of a Dino, right? Like, the idea is you've got healing, we've got healing. Obviously, different styles of healing. A Dino is going to be able to put the healing station down and just sit around, where Poco is looking more for an in and out type approach. And here comes the B. I guess as a result of the Griff wall break, you're saying, okay, we'll be able to make use of it. And, of course, some defensive prowess.
Заметил.
Overall comp coming out on the left side.
I mean, I don't mind it at all if the walls are going to be broken up.
Здорово.
Yeah, instantly they are. The B's going to be able to succeed so heavily.
Заметил, Максим. Здорово. 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 Ладно, парень.
Single shot, not going to be doing a lot whatsoever. Dino might want to place his kind of turret behind it, and if he's using that damage, it's going to burn it down bit by bit. Stu goes aggressive up this left-hand side, tries to open up a bit of room, but the slow from that Jesse turret slows both the Dino and Ficro back in spawn, and they get some more percentage.
I'm seeing individual play here out of Calabresos, and that's good, but more team play. Cow Dog is doing the heavy lifting, gets one on the right left, as Fire Crow nails it down. And now that they have the aggressive positioning, it's about staying on point, which what they're built for with this PAM. Let's see if it turns out that way.
That's the thing now.
Everybody looked at the stew. Now they are, and as a result, they take game one. Performance here. Oh man, this is sort of like a commentator's coach's dream here, because we got a chance to see the game plan. Have Kyle Dog go up and essentially distract, and then we didn't see it come to fruition with the other two teammates. Then we saw the adjustment mid-game, and then we saw the success off of it. Trav, chef's kiss. Love to see it.
Yeah, this is the thing. Everything early for seems lies on Kyodok's shoulders, though. If he doesn't make these plays, then his team aren't going to be making, getting the wins on the board. So I do feel like the rest of his team still needs, to spring into action a little bit more. But if Kyodok continues this, they're going to be completely fine. But the Jesse shot to his face isn't really going to help. The Rattled Hive makes a few there, just slowing him his tracks a bit, but the tuning fork along the way from Alonso did get him back in the mix, and there's another one to go along with it as well.
I love the B pick. Seeing, all right, you want to break open the walls? Word. We got B. It's a nice adjustment, but you're right here. Kyle Dog list for this composition. If he's not popping off, the team is not doing well. But Trav, let me ask you a question. Is Kyle Dog popping off?
I mean, it looks like he is straight up into the spawn once more. They're kind of just ignoring Lokic whilst Kyle Dog kind of cooks on. make any connections yet, and they are looking quite low. That's what the Panther is here for. Firecrow just retreats a little bit further, and Kaido just keeping Jesse busy on the right hand side.
Yeah, more attention's got to be paid to Loco. That's sort of what I was talking about. Like, as Cowdog distracts Firecrow and Adinho, got to find their ways elsewhere. But Cowdog's still just making it happen. I can't wait to see the stats, man. This stew is stupendous. Sorry, had to go with it. That's 60% here. And the big Marowak healer.
Doing what they need to do when Kyodog's not there, get the 2v3, and it comes through. 3 supers on the side of Calabresos now as well. Little boat beast low shots as well. Using his honeycoat as well, so not got that kind of still the second shot, but they don't need it at all. Complete team white once more from Calabresos, and just standing towards them away goes Spawn whilst Ficro picks up the last percentages needed, and set 1 goes all the way of Calabresos.
Absolutely fantastic, and that man right there, yeah, laugh your way to the bank, my G. Cowdog comes
Нормально.
on top, and you know, you mentioned something important, and I want to bring this up. That if Cowdog, the you know, sort of Achilles heel of this composition, if Cowdog isn't doing that, then it really just fails. Like, there is no way to find your way into the site. But at the end of the day, you do have Cowdog on your team. And if you have Messi on your squad, you play around him. And I'm not saying that Cowdog, you know, I'm not saying, but you have this powerful player. And so you can positions that put a lot of weight in shoulders. If it doesn't work, if it does, trust your superstar, man. Absolutely. And Adinho and Firecrow filled in the spaces very, very well here, Trev.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the end of the day, even when Kyodog wasn't making some big plays and it was a 2v3, Adinho and Ficro still pull through anyway, and it made the big plays required. And I mean, you know, that's the kind of adaptations needed mid-game. If your superstar's not making, or he was still making the plays, don't get me wrong, but if he's back in spawn and something needs to happen, then they make it happen. And that's exactly what his teammates did. Some great support from them, but look at that. 9, 3, and 11. Ficro making some big moves as well. Alonso, Loco, and Christian sitting there with 1, 1, 2, and those are definitely not the statistics of a winning team.
You know, I love the Firecrow as well, because, by the way, you know, the B pick is underpicked. This is not a B map, but you got to think about the way the map's going to change with that wall break. And you and I mentioned it as soon as we saw the selection, like, yo, if Rift's going to open up the wall, then fine, we'll play B, no problemo. Like, and it worked out perfectly. This was big brain by Calabresos, and I think that it's deceptively big brain, because they picked a pick not for the map that was selected, but for the map that the map would become as a result of that Griff wall break. And so, it's if I'm Marowaka's, I don't necessarily think that the wall break was a bad idea. It just the way
Опрос сколько счетов проиграла команда может. 2-0 у меня. Один. Что-то круто. Да починилась, да неужели трансляция? О, беру за негрифа последнего. Ясно. Так. Что убивает Амбер? Это гол, да? Это гол. Неплохо. Смайлик прожимаем. Почти получаем.
Falls on the right. Calabresios go from a very defensive position to a position of dreams here.
Cowdog is he's just winning the game. He's just outplaying
Смайлик
his players. I
прожимаем,
don't
почти
know how to be
получаем.
polite about it. See you later. That's game one. Cowdog. That's my take after the game, Trav. Just Cowdog.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what to say either, to be honest with you, but kind of really playing this Stu incredible in the first and the second sets.
А что там
It's
было?
just incredible. The
Что-то
character
не
like this, I
понял.
don't see Moeko's lasting much longer. But Adinho and Ficro as well doing their big part. Nice slow there in the unfriendly bush and the double stun. Sweet dreams. Beautiful, but they are a bit too low to invest. Cowdog still going forward, so might be able to slot this in. Super from the shot. Puts the ball in the goal. And only one more for the set.
I mean, that's something that we don't talk a lot about with Stu on Brawl Ball, is that his super is up so easily. The super shot, as a result, is also largely available often.
А лучше говорил, что
Surrounded and pounded.
покупка
The 3
экран
on 2.
сделал.
Cowdog's low.
А
Nice
просто
kill.
неудобно
How
сейчас
does this
смотреть
open the
и
door
еще
for Maroweka is the
голосовать
question.
неудобно.
Ball pushed up forward. Still not a scoring opportunity because they got kills on the other side of
Прям
the map.
5 там
But they
проще.
find themselves with the upper hand for the first time.
Ficro just waiting for his team to come back in to use this Sandy super and does use it now. Adinho has the super, should be able to push out as well. And Ficro not a bad cycle here. Hypercharge ready to roll to Adinho. His way through speed boost. Adinho should be able to slot that one in. Moeko's drop set 2 now. Such
2-0 просто.
man, I mean, I'd laugh as well if I just dominated a team like that because that was incredible from Calabresios.
Yeah, I mean,
Это
set one, we got a little
разрисовывается.
bit of taste of how, okay, they have a competition
Ё-моё.
built around this Stu, and they're just going to have Stu distract and glide, and the other players are going to fill in the slots. And then set 2, we just kind of the same thing but louder.
Да нормально.
I mean, this was even more individual prowess coming out from Cowdog, if you ask me. And so, fantastic play here. Again, I need to reiterate to the fans at home, Firecrow and Adinho are doing fantastically. Adinho, we just watched him rock that left lane player. Absolutely, I am taking nothing away from these guys. But Cowdog is the star of the show. He really is, man.
I mean, look at this. This is 2 kills straight there, and then he gets ready for the ball to be played up by his teammates as well. And I mean, as you say, Ficro Adinho played incredibly. Like, he's been in Amber on lane consistently. Ficro coming through with a good few hypercharges and the slot of the ball in there. But yeah, I mean, Cowdog playing this Stu very, very well. 5-1-7. I mean, we don't expect loads of kills from Adinho, right, on that Rosa. At the end of the day, you know, 1 kill's fine as long as you get in the control along with it. As long as your teammates are getting 5 and 7. 1-4-4, not bad from Moeko's. A lot better than last time, but the performance was nowhere near that of the hot zone set.
This and again, you know, I got to bring it up. Maroweka's came through with a.
Вообще последний сет для синей команды. Награда за поимку. Падающая звезда.
With the grip, you're not going to be able to hide in the bushes or behind the walls. So good luck with your Rosa, and Calabresios just didn't care. I see what Maroweka's was doing. I'm not going to sit here and dunk on the draft. I see what they were doing. It just didn't work out this time. And as we sort of gas up Mr. Dog here, I do want to bring up how his teammates are affecting it. You know, Sandy putting people to sleep, getting the double stun, Rosa on that left side creates the room for Cowdog to go ahead and do this. If you try to go do this, in your own games. Base. So a big point as we jump into Shooting Star and Gene, the first selection overall.
Жина
Something I
пикают.
want to bring up about his hypercharge.
И
Seemed
Мэнди.
to get people into trouble just as much as it
Ну,
helped
другая
out yesterday.
команда.
Yeah, no, I do agree as well. But I mean, one bonus.
Так, баны у нас. Так, Мак пикают, ладно. Баны у нас. Ай. Бак берут. Баны у нас. Так, берут жить, ладно. Баны у нас Белль, Пайпер, Арти, Анджела, Байрон и Мелоди. Ладно.
I've seen in terms of synergy, but I've just got to hope for Calabresi's sake that Jackie isn't found out of position too much.
So the big deal about this, and I knew we were going to follow up the backside selection with something without a stew. Because you're looking at with the way the hypercharge works with Max, it instantly, if you guys stack up, it instantly gives you
Лока у нас пикнул
75%
Мэнди.
of your hypercharge charge, and then you just kind of like finish
И
it off.
лол последним пиком
Those
закрывает.
energy drinks stack. And so you want to go
Меня
for
больше нравится
brawlers that
синяя
have
команда пик.
a valuable,
Хотя я не
super
знаю,
hypercharge here. And
такой
so
себе.
Jackie, I think, works
Джеки
out.
тут не знаю, что
Cowdog
брать.
on the Gene works out. They're
По
all gonna
фану,
huddle,
наверное,
get
я...
their super and their hypercharge, and then slash out again. I like this move.
А, типа по скорости, я понял. Джеки бы такой себе было бы, если тут Макса бы не было. Кстати, все гиберу.
I don't mind the Meg, the Lola, because they know that something with a lot of health is going to be running directly at them. They need that DPS, and Mandy should be able to slow them down with the gadget. But I just don't know if there's enough slowing or enough of defensive measures to be able to stop, these hypercharges forwards. But a nice gadget there from Loco, actually not running that slow, just going to be shooting through the
Ну
walls.
тут я не знаю, зачем Джеки было брать. Это тупость. Ошибка. Открытая карта на Джеки.
They're all grouped up here, like I said. They're going to be looking for that max nonsense, and as a result, Marihuecas get to spread out and have this sort of like these two angles, which I think is beneficial for the red team. Adinho taking a lot of damage here behind the indestructible, and look, gas beans go. Max hits the gas, and that brings in one player with the grab, and then after the fact gets the kill. Nice play there from the team, and you're going to see that again and again.
And that hypercharge is ready to roll as well for Cowdog. Just needs to pick himself up another super. Did have to use one defensively, so I'm sure that's not really what he would have desired. But at the end of the day, it's completely fine for now, as they are still living. The Loco just trying to find these long-range poke shots to bring them low and not allow them to go.
Неплохо.
There it is now, and now they're moving
Ой,
forward.
пошло. Киберзаряд Макс пошел.
Well, the Loco have the super defensive now.
Ой, все, пошло. Блин, добрали Джеки. Жаль.
Within 5, not out of reach, and especially with Christian with no mech as well.
Мэнди ульта. Наультует. Лол хп у Макс. Убивает Джеки. Мэнди. Так. У Джина есть дипер и ульта. Счет 13-15. Так, ульта пошла от Макс. И минус киберзаряд у Джина. Стяжечка на Джеки, но это не помогает, так что так вот. Так я почти Алик на почти получаем.
By preventing some of those shots across the way from Gene as well, they're just not able to find the damage that they're looking for, and thus.
Так. Так, пока они фидят друг друга ульту. Мы, кстати, уже накопил на ульту себе. Джин юзает гаджет. Мэнди ультует. Макс юзает гаджет, чтобы не умереть. Так, Джеки ее со скоростью с гаджетом. Убивает Мэг. Ульта еще Макс. Пошла ульта у Макс. Стяжечка от Джеки. Шла. Чё, в смысле? Что за бред? Ай, бред. Так. Так, пошел гиперу Джеки, пошел гиперу Макс, пошло. Просто еще гиперу. Ой, Джина. Это 0.2, в смысле 0.2? Да, походу задержка вроде. Чтобы видно. Если 0.2, это задержка. Может баг какой-то. Ненавижу. Тебя задержка, тут задержка. Ну ладно. Нормально. Пытались. Ну, Джеки было лишнее.
Why they over-aggress? I understand you've got to stay in an aggressive position with this composition, right? With the Jack, you're going to get backed up. That's just the nature of this composition. But running into a Meg, when the Mandy's there to help out as well, when the game's so close,
Как реплей
you've
нас
got to
показывают
be more smart than that. I don't know. It
в
just kind of
этом,
seems to me like
на
massive
этой
overkill in
карте.
terms of the aggression. Like, this was gorgeous. They brought this game back so nicely from a position where you kind of expect them to just be falling out the hypercharge super, and obviously another hypercharge coming out
Это
here
было
to secure
красиво.
that pull.
Вот я,
Makes it
кстати, не
17 to
увидел.
20, but they're just dropping like flies here. When you're running towards that, the super hit go there as well, and Christian just getting those final little, those shots tickle.
Лагает трендец,
They don't really hit hard, but enough of them do, and along with that Mandy round the back as well, you're going to be falling down. I mean, look at that, 3-2-4 compared to the 4-6-6, a well-earned
Вопрос
win
будет, нет.
from Waco's on the board.
Yeah, well played, like just strong
И
attention to
нокаут.
detail with respect
Здесь
to how they were
последний
gonna play this matchup. And like I
режим.
said, they did make the mistake, and when they made the mistake, they got punished for it when they split 2 left, 1 right. But that was the only large-scale mistake that team wound up making, and as a result, they take the set. And that brings us on to set number 4 with knockout out in the open. A lot of things to talk about with respects to the compositions and how things change getting outside of a respawn mode. And Byron, the first selection here, so some heals along the way. It's awesome. But, I mean, that's what we expect to see in APAC with Byron, I suppose.
Банон, Джин, Макс, Пайпер, Анджела, Макс и еще Мелоди. Так, пикут у нас игроки, что дальше?
Pretty much lets you go on the aggressive a lot more often, whereas kind of RT was, you drop your legs at the end of the game. You die trying to get a kill because your legs are stationary and you can't really help them.
Да, блин,
Bell's going to come in along with that as well.
Мэг, да.
Making sure that that's not picked
Ну,
against
дефолт, он
them. Going to be a follow-up
дефолт.
from Calabrasus now. Don't
Вот
want to
бы
provide
кто-то Мортиса взял.
It really didn't go to plan in the last game, but Brock, the last selection from
Как про
Calabrasus.
вчера.
Brock,
Искал я
very
Мортиса.
high picked. The ability, wall break is generally what you're looking for out of Brock, and so you've got long range out of Brock and the
Последний
Byron.
пик.
Not direct damage like the
Красные
or not
команды. И у нас
necessarily
есть
like the top damage that you would get out of the bells, etc. But this is going to provide some utility in addition. And so, when you're looking at the Calabrasos draft here, is Meg going to be the centerpiece of this, or is it going to be more of a full share of responsibility?
I mean, for the most part, Meg's pretty much just going to be walking for.
Сейчас я обновлю, друзья. Все зависло. Наверное, будем на ютубе смотреть, а не здесь. Если меня лагает. Короче, посмотрите чемпионаты на сайте и все. Ладно, давайте все-таки на ютубе посмотрим. Тут лагает все. Лучше на ютубе. Либо на Твиче. Классно опять лагает. Секунду.
around Dino getting jumped out. This time, Firecrow shot one shot at RT, but wasn't really able to finish anything. So now that the dust is settled with Meg out, I think this is going to be a bigger deal for Calabresos this time. The gas starts to seep in here. And Firecrow midfield. In some trouble. RT, though, taking all the shots from Dino. It's going to be a 3-on-2.
I'm sure Meg would be an issue, but they pretty much had it instantly anyway, so it doesn't really matter for Dino. Calabresos here. They take the first game of knockout. We have a straight to match for the Calabresos. Looking very, very good and very comfortable in that one. Even when the Meg's out of Meg, they're still managing to maintain this 3v3 and keeping them back into spawn. As soon as that gas comes in, it's game over.
Fresh one. We'll see how it works out. Definitely a little bit of a misplay there, allowing Dino to get the mech right on back. Eve, though, taking a ton of damage early from Kyle Dog here on the right side. The Brock just landed these shots from a distance. Oh, Kyle Dog, eye on the prize. Yeah, that's a thumbs up, buddy. Firecrow and the team will finish it off, and that's round one for Calabresos.
Well, I'm not sure I feel too confident for Moekos now if they're being dominated this hard in yet another game. Firecrow just going to be walking straight through this little wall break that they had. Adina feeling confident, even jumping in and taking no shots upon landing either. Firecrow making some great connections, pushing forwards, but no heals being provided to Adino just yet. Might put him in a bit of a compromised position, but there's the snake oil being dropped down. A follow shot as well. That's Alonso brought down. Christian shortly follows. Loco, the only one that remains. It's a 2v1. It's doable, but I don't think it's going to be done. Loco being pushed now as Adino just continues to walk forwards, has the swipe ready to roll as well. Hits him with that and finishes him off with those follow shots. Calabresos 3-1 in the end, and they head straight to the semis.
Fantastic stuff out of Calabresos, just coming out here and doing it. Questionable set number 3. We don't got to talk about it too much, I suppose, but I'm not here to be nice. We are going to talk about it. Little bit of a set drop in that third one for sure. I think the selection, like I said, I saw what they were doing. If you win dominantly, first 2 sets, maybe you come into the third set, taking an experimental game plan. All right, this one has some holes, but we think it could work. Maybe that's the perfect time to try it, because I don't want to hear about scrims and monthly finals, very different. So maybe that's the time to try it, Trav, but did not work out. The only reason I want to bring up the negative is because everything else about this set for Calabresos was pure positive.
I mean, you really can't argue that at all. I mean, gorgeous kill there from Kyle Dog to find the rocket fuel shot around the right-hand side. It really was beautiful. But, as you say, very few faults from Calabresos, pretty much all the way through, if you take that kind of draft in set 3 out of the occasion. And still, even at that, they almost managed to make it work in that second game, but did just drop it with a slight misplay. Back to how things were in the sets 1 and 2 here for set 4, 2-6-3 and 2-1-0. Very little amount of kills on the board there for Moekos.
Tough stuff there, yeah. Maroika's similar performances, I suppose, to last month around. So, you know, certainly some things to look at, certainly some things to download and take home. But again, last time around they got 3-0'd. This time around 3-1. That's improvement. I'm not even being funny here. That is the type of improvement that you do look for out of these squads. And so Calabresos take that momentum into the semifinals. This is an impressive team. Kyle Dog on top. But again, Edinho and Firecrow are absolutely allowing Kyle Dog to play like the MVP that he is. These 2 role players, and let me preface, before you guys get on Reddit, role player is not a bad thing. These 2 players are allowing Kyle Dog to have these types of performances, and it's very, very fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely could not blame them for letting the star players shine, and you know, I feel that's a thing that multiple teams do need to kind of just allow. Kyle Dog being that man and making the big moves for his team. And that's not saying his team are doing bad, because Adinho and Firecrow are absolutely out their minds. But as we can see, it's being the MVP.
Yeah, like you said, 0% surprised. I am Jack's lack of surprise here. Kyle Dog came out and literally won the first set off of the Stu play. Just period, end of story. Again, his team fell in and allowed him, created space, etc. Stu won that set, 100%. You deserve the MVP for that performance. You love to see it. Great stuff. And again, just thanks, because it's dummy fun to watch as well.
Yeah, I mean, not just set 1. Set 2 was genuinely his Stu play as well. And I mean, multiple different things. You could have played Stu in set 4, I'm sure, as well, and made that work. But in the end, they did manage to get it done with that Brock. Anyway, Kaido really putting on a show for us here in game number 1. I'm sure through the semis and possibly the finals, there's more great stuff from Calabrasos to come as well.
Well, there's more great stuff to come from the BSC in general as well. We got a little bitty break, but after that, we'll be right back.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship, powered by Galaxy, to you by Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
О, мультики. Вот, подбас. Опять реклама с подбаса. Рекламирует подбас. Шедоу, который без
Welcome back, friends. This is the BSC powered by Snapdragon Pro Series. This is F. That is Arc. And that over there is Trav. I pointed in the wrong direction, but that's okay. We're pointing up because Squad Busters is coming at you. A fun action game, new one. Pre-register, because here's the cool stuff. I love what Supercell is doing. The more people, as people pre-register for more like that in the different games. So I buried the lead. Squad Busters is the new game coming out from Supercell, which takes all of their worlds, Brawl Stars, Clash, etc., 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 and puts them into one game that we can all play. Ark, you've had a lot of fun playing this one. You're yapping in our ear about Squad Busters. So talk to me about why we should pre-reg.
I absolutely love it. It's very similar to Brawl, but very different to Brawl at the same time. You've got a kind of mesh up in the sort of mashup of sort of PvE versus PvP, and in that sense, you want to build your squad, get the biggest amount of sort of characters from all around the IP together, and some little tips and tricks. I think Hog Rider's very strong at the moment. Max and B very strong also. I think in like the modifiers, there's so many different ways to kind of build your troops up together. Look for some piercing damage when it comes to the Royal Ghost. Trapnose from yesterday, Goblin. And chicken side just on doppelganger. There's a lot of strategies, got a lot of depth whilst remaining on the casual side, but also I find it very competitive.
It sounds fun, honestly. And the big hit here to remind you guys, you can pre-register in the app or Google Play, and what it is again, the more people that pre-register, we will get in-game rewards, not just in Squad Busters, but also in your Brawl Stars game, also in your class, etc., etc., etc. So pre-register right now on those stores so I can get cool stuff in Brawl. Thank you. That's it. Let's check bracket real quick, because we just had a barn burner of a matchup here in our quarterfinals. Calabrasos 3-1 over Marowakos, which again, two things to note. Calabrasos look fantastic, but Marowakos on the way up, improving from last time around. Team Queso currently in the midst of it, 2-1. Again, you can find that game on event.brawlstars.com on our B stream. And then we've got our two matchups in front of us: RDP versus Olimpo, which should be on that B stream, and us right here. SK Kalalas versus Mini Pekkas. Free agents, by the way. Shout out Orcs. And so this one, another fun matchup. We talked about new faces, but here are some familiar names, Ark.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, SK Kalalas getting picked up, of course. What a big achievement that was for them. Calva, Doritos, and BTZ. This for around Of course, the former CBD FA from last month. And, you know, the qualifiers have been really strong, beating Norway 2-0 to qualify this month. Of course, beating Fafalets last month. This very matchup is that grudge match, as Fafalets changed their name and their organization sort of roster movements there to FA Mini Packers, for leaving that roster as well. So I'm curious as to how that will fare for the opposition. But for SK Clayers, of course, last month in the grand final was a big achievement. They couldn't quite seal the deal.
Yeah, Trav, Mini Peck is over here. Little bit of a new lineup. What's the Trav take?
I don't mind it. I really don't. We've seen Hubi a lot throughout of the the previous South American multi-finals, whether that be this year or last year. Motep and Pekka to come along with him as well. Motep and Pekka, huge names in brawl and brawl. Newcomer have got, and if they can play, I do too.
Motep right here. Interested to see how he slots in with the new player for sure. Is there any Hubi? You mentioned a lot of attention being paid. Blah, blah. Well, what can you say about his play style, Trav? Like, what should we expect out of Hubi?
I feel like he's got to just kind of slide in with that aggressiveness that Mini Pekkas kind of brings to the table anyway. No matter what his play style was before, when you join a new team, you majority of the time have to kind of pivot to what they're doing, slide into roles that they need you to slide into. And I feel like that's quite an aggressive stance when it comes to Mini Pekkas.
Nice. I'm eager to see that, especially when you join a team with some like pre-established names here, Ark. As we mentioned, Motep and on the other side, Pekka. Certainly some strong players who be slotting in here. What's your thoughts on how that's going to work out?
I'm a little bit dubious, I'll be honest. I mean, it's a big, bold roster change. Yeah, no pun intended. I mean, Tufa is so experienced by nature and has got so much. I mean, he's a 3-time world finalist. I mean, to bring in Hubi, I mean, he's been playing okay, but last month, Ubers picks did go out in the quarterfinals, and that's the roster that Hubi's come from. They were third place in the SA East in 2023. In that squad with Super Renegados, they did make the semifinals every single month, but they also really struggled to claim sets in the semifinals and didn't make it through to the grand finals. And that's where you need to be, and that's why I feel that's kind of a bit warranted. And it is a bit crazy, I'm with Trav. It is a bit crazy because when you look at that roster, Motep and Pekka go so far back as well, both 2-time world finalists. But it's a risky play. It might well pay off for them. This could be the roster change which they need. But 80% signing SKC, and I don't think that's such a wild statistic when you consider they did make the grand finals last month.
Yeah, I got to agree here. I think SK Kalalas certainly, they came second place last month to the team that we just saw won. So Mini Pekkas have their work cut out for them. Right away, we're starting here in game one. Cult first selection as we jump into safe zone. We see the Chuck ban. I think that's probably the most important one. The Cult here to provide obviously damage, but also some wall break. And then the Bell here paired up with, I'm taking a look at these bans here, Ark. What are you thinking?
Anjo's kind of a must ban, and like as you rightly point out, the Chuck ban here quite essential. It scaped through the draft in APAC, and I have no idea how, but we didn't see it once played out here in EMEA for good reason. So the Max, I think, is an interesting one, probably more of a South American thing, but Max did have it stay in safe zone, and some of those ideas coming back in this region. We saw Max playing a role in Shooting Star as well today, which hasn't really drifted across the other regions either yet. So SA definitely going back to some kind of more old school kind of meta styles with Max now coming a bit more into the forefront of that meta. But I think Melody here, you kind of have to really ban, but Colette's a huge one. I don't know how that has got through, and that's open, and that's what I think SKC should really take the time to consider heavily and get that one just up quick.
I mean, Colette before the introduction of Hypercharge was very, very valuable on, pretty much, definitely safe zone. And Hypercharge just makes it more so. And we've got an Arc selection here. A Crow selection here. What do you have to say about the Assassin?
I mean, if you've got Nanny, you've got Colette, and Piper, I can understand. I think Crow here, I don't know. I think there's stronger brawlers that could have been.
I don't like it in this drop so far. Straight up and down. I don't like it.
But it doesn't. I mean, the Hypercharge in the safe can cause some devastation, but you've got to get to the safe, and you've got to really get those takedowns along the way to ensure that you've got space to be able to really land that mark. And I just think it's a bit high. There's the Nanny, but I mean, where's Colette?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day. Yeah, I got nothing. So I mean, looking at scrim data, SK Kalalas play a lot of Cult, and that's why Mini Pekkas goes in that direction.
Я больше
They first pick it off the board pretty much as a fourth ban, if you will, and then you pair it with, you know, the Charlie I'm never going to complain about, Piper. It's hard to complain about these characters on the right-hand side, but again, like, where is, for Kalalas, where's the Colette is definitely a question. When I see something this weird, Arc, this is usually where I remind myself that I'm commentating, and so this selection, I think, is why, especially board. Maybe they were see, because I'm intrigued. I'm down to see the weird stuff. Right away, Pekka falls down in the mid lane. Nice trade as Motep steps forward, sends the spiders defensively pretty much. And that's a nice look here from Mini Pekkas to make that trade.
I mean, we know that VTZim plays the Crow a lot in scrims, and that's definitely kind of like a more player-specific kind of pick here. Let's see how it plays off for them, and so far, so good in terms of the map positioning. SK Kalalis pushing forwards. We saw the Nani yesterday and what a pivotal role that was in the EMEA region on this very map. So I really quite like that pick. It's going to play very well into the Piper as well. And of course, the TP onto that safe can choose to go for a kill, can choose to go for damage, or there you go, straight for both. And tried to get to Jubilee, but didn't quite get enough on that. And the defense is there for FA Mini Pekkas.
Ooh, team wipe coming out from Mini Pekkas. Just 3% damage on the safe. Colt's going to change that. And a nice 18% chunk as the clown pins come out. Mini Pekka, I think it's a little early for that, homie. We'll see how it works out, though, as 1 minute and 5 seconds left on the clock. And the Nani going, ooh, Doritos behind enemy lines here. And trying to make it happen, but trouble to deal with as well as Pekka plays defense.
Well, there's some damage running down on the SK Kalalis safe, and it is the Colt. Yeah, exactly that. You can't leave a brawler like that on the safe. It will absolutely go to town and shred it. Piper now coming in from the sidelines as well to help out. 32% is all that's left on the SKC safe, and they've got to hold a much stronger firming position on that mid. Oh, miss shot there from Cowboy as well to leave Pekka with damage gear on the safe to whittle it down even more. They can't let these things through.
Trouble. Crow does get the kill here. VTZim trying to push forward. Motep looking up and down. Can't look at both. Cow gets the kill. VTZim gets the last hit, of course, but the Bell does a lot of hard work. And 90% of the blue safe already gone. And as the clock ticks down, I don't know that SK can make the match here. Looks like Pekka's on top for now. Hold that thought. In comes the Crow, and, well, down goes the Crow. Just like that. Nani not going to get a shot either. Match over. Game 1 goes to Mini Pekkas.
I just don't think the Crow's really doing too much for them, to be completely honest. I mean, there was a little bit of a change when it came to the hypercharge, allowing it to, have the daggers return properly after hitting walls via the hypercharge. And, I just don't think it's enough to really warrant it as a pick. And there's other ideas that could definitely been put into play here for me. I mean, Colette being the big one. I mean, 8-Bit has a great time on this map as well. They've got the Nani into the Piper. I mean, that's going to be good for them, but they can't leave Jubilee on the safe. That's something which they've really got to iron out on the side of SKC, because he was the one that really initiated so much of that damage early on.
Left lane gets smoked here, and Motep in some trouble, has to fall back. Pekka, by the way, providing that assistance from the mid. A nice look from the Piper here. The range for Charlie, I am seeing it here. Every now and then we're seeing these just barely miss. Those would have hit last patch.
Very subtle change, isn't it? Very subtle, but it hasn't really shifted Charlie away too much from the meta.
Yeah.
Next month, though, with Max coming into play, then it might change. There's that damage running in again, that another 18% whittled down by Jubilee. I mean, the Max into the Charlie cocoon is a very good way to escape with the phase shift, so I think Charlie might get phased out slightly, but so far it's working out well for Mini Pekkas, and they're able to get another firming position in that mid. Jubilee again on the save. These are mistakes that SK is just not learning from.
Yeah, he's just able to just press the button. And you've seen this twice now where Colt gets in a position, unloads, and then dies. He doesn't care. We do not care. He already did the damage. 54% remaining for SK Kalalas. And Mini Pekka's here pretty healthy at 81. And the aggression's still on Mini Pekka's side. Keo, though, able to find that kill.
Charge in. Oh, it was just shy, though. Oh, disgusting.
Yeah, tough stuff here. Ark, I want you to take this one because this... Ooh, damn it. I was going to say take the play-by-play, but there's no play-by-play to have as everybody's dead. And Pekka is the one that walks up, but Piper not able to deal the damage that Colt does. And so more attention being paid to Colt, I think, is the correct adaptation from SK Kalalas. Question is, Ark, too little too late?
That's the thing. If Super has to heal up, he's got to earn Super now with a hypercharge in play for Cowboy, who will go and get some damage on the safe. But Bell's not going to do the most of damage. In fact, the majority of them won't. It's the Nanny that has to be able to do that. And Huberlier responds for hypercharge of his own. That safe going to town now. SKC are in danger of dropping this set. Pekka left completely alone, uncontested. One single attack and it will be done. Cowboy trying to body block for his life, but it's too much to be done on the other side of the field. Surely 5 seconds ticking down, and the defense should be there despite the efforts of SKC. It's Epic Mini come out on top.
Play. Absolutely fantastic play. Motep feels some type of way about it. Pekka was dropping the clown pin from minute 1 for what it's worth. So this is a confident team for sure. I think this one comes down to the draft. This is a very powerful team, and sometimes we see teams kind of throw caution to the wind later on in the set. I think it's a little curious to try the weird stuff right off the bat, but we do see that, and it doesn't work out. The Crow, I know they play it a lot, Ark. I just don't, I don't see it. I don't see it. You dropping the protesto here?
It's the Crow thumbs down. I mean, definitely have a better. Nothing wrong with trying some kind of more regionalized ideas, and we know that VTSim does gravitate towards it, but I feel that you just got to kind of play the draft that is in front of you, and that wasn't really it. At a time in the draft, you got to remember, that was like their second pick. So I think there was definitely better options available at that time of the draft as well. Certainly that's exactly where I'd be picking up Colette or considering that 8-bit idea, and it just wasn't really enough. I mean, the 8-bit could have been an idea because the Colt was the first pick on the side of every mini Peggers, and you kind of want to ensure that the 8-bit and the Colt are separated in that regard, because they're both left on the safe. It can be over in seconds. I mean, the kills are one thing, but the objective is everything when it comes to heist. And Peggy was 10 of his own, a pretty spread DPS across the board, and also with the kills too. But I mean, it really was all about Huberlier on the safe for me with that Colt, and it just opened up so many opportunities, and the doors were wide open for FA Mini Peggers to steal the set.
Yeah, I completely agree with your assertion there. I want to frame that. The kills are one thing, but the objective is everything. That's the quote, baby. Oh man, I'm gonna put that on the wall. That is exactly what went down here, man. The Crow just leaving us scratching our beaks, totally confused. Goalkeeper's dream. Not much to be confused about this map. Pretty straightforward. Look at it. It's wide open. And so as we jump here into Brawl Ball, you also brought up something else here, Ark. The idea of, you got to play the draft in front of you. There is the idea of playing your own game and not being goaded into the opponent, but you do have to respond sometimes. Where is that perfect in between? Tough to identify, and that's why there's a difference between y'all at home and everybody here on the big stage. Stu, first pick overall. Again, we saw some glide out of KD earlier in our first quarter final. Should be an interesting one as we watch the draft go by. And Byron, first selection for the blue team. Again, totally just catapulted into the meta with some changes.
Yeah, Byron's in a really good spot. We saw it a great deal yesterday in the EMEA region, and again in the APAC region. It's not just a South American idea. It really has now found a place as a first pick brawler sometimes. And Angelo being banned as well, that's always a must here. Spike being banned on the side of FA Mini Peggers. I mean, Spike is played predominantly more so in South America. Has received a little bit of a recent nerf. Not sure that it was worth the ban myself. Certainly the Gale, it may be trying to ban out some kind of a strategy, kind of controlling the ball idea, but I don't think it's really worth the ban, to be honest. It's actually maybe a strategy to give FA Mini Peggers more option to go with other brawlers. Nita certainly up there in terms of like the new hypercharges and strength, but I mean, I'm a little bit concerned when it comes to the range on this particular map. Sandy for me is definitely my flavor. I mean, the hypercharge is probably at the top of the new ones that have come into the game, and arguably amongst the entirety of them. So with the Byron as well to heal it along. Pipe coming in though might change that with that additional range on the side of Mini Peggers. Yeah,
Piper on the 4-5 turn is a nice look. I mean, this is a sharpshooter friendly map, absolutely. And so pick the Piper. That's exactly what we're going to see. The Nita, honestly, the hypercharged bear is really big. The movement speed increase, I think, is probably the bigger deal, and she can kind of walk almost like layer cake, if you will, like up to up on those 1, 2, 3 side things, as long as there's not a lot of wall break. And so the first two selections don't bring it. BB as the turn here for the last selection. I'm concerned about the lack of range from Nita. How about BB?
I like BB. I think as well with the Byron combo, it's been very, very strong. It could have been an idea for FA Mini Packers, in all honesty, to consider.
True.
Just be able to like push their way through. Sandy's not going to do too much to it. It will feed into it, sure, and provide some super utility. But I mean, hard to ground with something tanky on the other side of the field, or could have been another option. I'm not necessarily a massive fan of Meg here, but it is quite a good counter into the Piper pick. Nonetheless, though, let's see how it plays out. I think the Sandy here has got the most amount of ability and utility now with the recent buffs that it's received. But necessarily in terms of range, if Pekka starts to tap on that Piper pick, could prove costly.
Well, Doritos wins the fight versus Stu. That's going to be a fantastic look. And they try to pinch Doritos, but some help from the teammate. VT Zim on the Sandy gets that knockout, and that's going to be a nice look so far. So what could have been a goal scoring opportunity for Mini Packers gets diverted. Thanks to the play out of VT Zim from the shift. And now we have the lane trade. Doritos, despite winning versus the Stu, is going to shift over here to the left-hand side and sends up the super, complete whiff. And now Hoobi just falls down. I like the idea, pure aggression, but not good enough here.
The Stu pick as well. Oh, Pekka chunking in, finds the ball. Beautiful from Pekka, and it was all left alone by SKC. Can't leave moments like that open, because that is when Mini Packers will strike.
Wow, that was an interesting place to bring the ball. I guess the right, like, darned if you do, darned if you don't. Right side, left side, otherwise you're just gone. And then distance isn't ready for that. Down, but this is goalkeeper's.
Was a little bit precarious. They go in at first now. Mini Packers pushing the ball through. Hubler going to tower the Stuber, shut down there. Beautifully done by Doritos at a very important time to do so. Now the offensiveness goes forwards and they're pushing their way towards the FA Mini Packers goal. If they can secure this goal, the Sweet Dream stuns or a good pops on the gadget for VT Sim. The pass through, not going to be there though, leaving Calbert all alone. He's going to have to bring this ball back surely.
Yeah, Hubie here versus the Byron, dashes in, gets 1, 2. Oh! Byron wins the exchange? Not going to win the second one for sure. In trouble as Piper jumps away, easy peasy. And another bear comes out. This time around, just tanking things. And, ooh, I thought it was open. Not going to break the ankles this time around. Nice try from the Stu player. Not able to find it from a distance like their opponents. Tied 1-1, taking down seconds before
Samson's going to land the feet of who find the shot and get the goal on the. This was from Pekka. Saw the opportunity, did not take and landed bang on that ball.
Fantastic. And I want to talk about the Nita here because Nita really provided a lot of space. And I came into the setups exchange a little bit. That's in the one player for you, and that allowed Mini Packers to walk up the field and score at least once that time around. Really smooth play from the Nita.
I'm really impressed with who Blair's played today so far. Really excelling for me. The Stu pick's a very smart one here as well, as you've got super to hand more often than not, and if you find the ball at just the right time, a shot from a long distance is not the craziest of things to consider. So, but the way he's playing today really is working. This roster change has bringing a new lease of life.
Hubie passes to the opponent, tries to take the shot on goal, but too many players up. Still, decent shot, don't hate it. Ball shoved to the right-hand side. Mini Pack is up 1, so Doritos and the boys need to find a goal. They do have a ton of time, though, Ark, with a minute plus on the clock. Doritos in trouble, 2v1. As Byron not in a position to heal, the LOS isn't there, finally shows up. And now this right side battle still here. Byron can't keep him up. He doesn't need to. The 1v1 trade is strong, but many Pekkas have the ball.
Yeah, Cowbell's sinking so many heals into that, tried to keep the BB in play, couldn't work out in the end. And now an opportunity for the speed zone to go down, for FA Minipek to try to reposition themselves now. The aggression is there. Hypercharge popped by Doritos, a lovely angle as well into the value that he was able to obtain off the back of that. Good splash as well there from Cowbell, keeping Motep low as Victorson trying to creep round this right-hand side. Thinking better of it now as Pekka is aware to it, trying to get some taps into Motep. They just can't get this ball out the corner regardless. 25 clock.
BT Zim just acquiesces, knows he's toast, figures kill me quickly so I can respawn faster, stops moving. 15 seconds on the clock, ball midfield. Minipek is not allowing their opponent to walk up. In fact, they're going to look for the goal and get it. That is goal number 2 and... Or goal number 1, excuse me, got excited. That is, wait for it, game number 2. Thank you, got there. We made it happen. And Minipek is laughing their way to the bank. Motep looking strong. They coming out from them again. And again, got to bring up a little bit of an upset.
100%. Like I said, in that match, this roster change is really showing its worth, and it's a great thing to see, you know, especially when you look at the fact that we've only had one monthly final prior to this. You know, a change had to be made, that change being a very bold one, too, for going over to Urbis do picks, and then they actually didn't qualify to this stage of the competition this month round. I mean, taking Hubelia from that roster and there. You know, it's great to see. It brings Minipekkas back in the game, and that's what they were kind of struggling to achieve last month. And you know, making this region much closer together now, it seems. I mean, this one's still to play itself out. It's just a 2 sets. Let's see whether SK Kalalis can start to bring this back and take it all the way to the 5th now. But one thing's for certain, they're not looking themselves, and their drafts have been questionable so far.
Yeah, SK Kalalas, I'm with you there. They are not looking themselves. And the thing that we said coming into this one, we identified that SK Kalalas was the upper card. They did come in second last time around. This squad, you know, sort of storied in this region. But we also brought up that Motep and Pekka are not slouches. These are very strong, capable players. And then Hubi coming through. What I think is really fun is all 3 of us sat here and we're like, listen, Hubi, you're joining this squad. You got to go ahead and slot in. They gave him the stew, and he's the one overperforming here. I like that confidence in their new player. I think that tells us at home a lot of the trust. And
obviously, it is going to be Ring of Fire. Andre Ban is a good sign. First pick of FA Minipek. Interesting ideas to really, you know, dedicate themselves to that brawler first. Byron, I didn't mind it. It's not the first pick that I was kind of anticipating here for me, in all honesty. Amber kind of works out a bit better in that regard, able to burn down the bush and leaving things exposed. Piper, though, to follow up. Definitely a very strong on this map, but in this stage of the draft, leaves itself open to a counter. And that's what they're going to actually combine it with it.
Exactly. I love that. Exactly what you said is that when you pick, you have to about the other side. Meg is one of those characters that you have to worry about. Obviously, just so much health to chew through, has the extra life, and it's coming from the other direction. And so Piper here with the Meg in hand. Meg is going to create space for Piper, and you know, even look up and put down the turret perhaps. And so that should be a good
the way through. If so, that could be a consideration for SK Kalalis there. We're going to go with Max. I think it's a smarter play. Because they're thinking about it a lot, because ultimately that's the pairing that they like to go for. I really like the Max here. It's going to play really nicely into the Piper, just being able to get right up in the faces of FA Minipekkas as well. Yeah. And, you know, the Meg's going to struggle a little bit as well when it comes to that list for SK Kalalis. I don't mind this, but certainly the pressure is mounting for SKC. Going home early.
Is confidence selection. To be able to just raw pilot it pretty much. Like this comes down to execution. If Kalalas can land their shots, which sounds stupid, but like that's what this one is about. If you can land your shots and make these kills count, then you're going to be able to step forward and get on the point. But if you are not high on the accuracy mark and immediately brought all the way down as well, that said, it does send Kalalas walking backwards, beat. And so Minipekkas get the space they were looking for off of that 17-14, pretty much a tie game.
Yeah, but they're feeding a lot over to Motep at the moment. He can't be far away from a super and a hypercharge to follow. And we know that can do that. Turret will just have so much tankiness to bring to the table. Good clear ups though, and not too much time spent on the zone actually by FA Mini Packers in all honesty, considering the matchups. And we're starting to bring this back pretty close now. There is super that we expected to see. Taken down very swiftly though by SKC. Caliber falls, but nonetheless, that was pretty decent. It's the objective now that worries me, and there's so much HP to drill through when it comes to what FA Mini Packers are working with in that mid.
Well, Hoobie here. Again, so much HP, but the 2v1 brings it down very quickly. Hoobie does get an exchange outside of the mech. That's going to be a nice look, but zooming. Max just going so fast, able to dodge, duck, weave, etc. And find not one, but two. And this opens the push down. For the team right now, VTZM not really looking. And so this, again, an opportunity for Kalalas, but 54% done by the red team already.
Well, now we have got SKC on the zone, who now HP, forcing out the spaceship there, Calvert, and the heals coming from the research. Not in this game, and they're about to go home packing.
Fantastic play from Mini Packers. I want to break it down a little bit later about how they chose to pace this game. 90% on the point. Red team staunchly digging their heels in. Meg knocked out of the mech, knocked down. It doesn't matter. Game, set, match. Hold that trophy high. You're going to the semifinals.
In very convincing fashion, no less. And I've got them down now to be in the grand finals today. I want to see that matchup, and for me, I think it's going to be a matchup versus Calibrations. We'll have to see. Nonetheless, considering that the organization just picked up the roster, a bit of a disappointment today from SKC. We didn't see really anything from them that much. The drafts were a bit all over. They certainly didn't seem very confident in their approach.
Tufa, you kind of gotta make some noise, and who'll be making some noise here? The make play was fantastic on this map. Arc, it did exactly what it needed to do, and it even brought the kills. 8 over 3-2-1. Fantastic play out of Hoobie. I really want to drive home how strong Hoobie was for this team.
I think you've nailed it straight on the head as well. If you're going to fill two for shoes, you better make sure that your feet fit the shoe, and they absolutely did today. There's no doubt about that. Will FA Mini Packers can bad on the side? Again, I just didn't feel they were confident in the approach. A lot of tried and tested things through scrims and raw ideas that matched those very same, sort of practice mentalities, but it just didn't really translate to what they were facing off against. Pekka coming in as your MVP voted on event.brawlstars.com.
Nice. We love to see Pekka coming out here on top. He is the namesake of the team, the Mini Pekkas, and this is the Big Pekka? What's the opposite of mini? I was going to say major in my head, but that's not the opposite. It doesn't matter. Him and his team wind up winning, and he gets the MVP as voted by y'all at home. That's our second quarterfinal. We have semifinals. We have finals. We have Brawl Stars after the jump.
The Snapdragon Pro Series Brawl Stars Championship, powered by Samsung Galaxy, is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, Monster Energy, and DHL.
How beautiful.
Mike's soda.
is the time. The time when dreams come true and legends are born. Oh my word! This is the place.
Some seriously spicy stuff. An absolute masterclass!
The place where teams from across the globe come to battle it out for their shot at glory.
Oh, you're kidding!
And a piece of up to $2 million in prizing.
No pressure, guys. No pressure.
This is the feeling.
It's beautiful!
The once-in-a-lifetime feeling of lifting the trophy at the Brawl Stars World Finals.
Here comes the push. Here's the damage. This is now the crunch time.
This is the game.
Immediately taken down. Still not going to fall. He refuses to die.
The game. Love. This is the Brawl Stars Championship. Let's get ready to brawl.
Welcome back, Brawl Nation. It is the BSC powered by the SPS with F, Trav, and I was going to go with FTN. Yeah, F dot, Trav, and Arc. There we go. We got there. Letters and numbers, it's an A+ so far, though, for every single team that we've seen in our quarterfinals. We're shifting over to our semifinals, and before we get there, shout out to the Squad Busters. Pre-registered now. Everybody a winner and get some free stuff. Arc, we are halfway through our competition with our quarterfinals on the A stream done and dusted. What are your feelings so far as we take a gander at the bracket?
It was a very close match between Team Kesso and Level Esports. I was watching it go down. It was back and forth all the way through. I think Team Kesso found themselves against the match point at one point as well, but they were able to bring it back, take it all the way to the 5th, and came out on top in the end. Meanwhile, we still got Reese the PL as well as the Olympus squad battling it out as we speak. Playing Bounty. If you want to check out that stream, go to the event site, event.brawlstars.com, and select stream. Be there to see the outcome of that match.
Well, our match in front of us, we are jumping into the semifinals. We have Team Queso, like you mentioned, a barn burner. They're coming off of it. I don't know how much break they get, but now they're coming into Calabresos, which, if there is anything that you call a litmus test, it's going up against Cowdog, Adino, and Firecrow. Trav.
It's going to be a tough match for Team Queso, especially coming off the back of a 3-2, as you said. We don't know how much time they've kind of had to rest in between, kind of gauge out on how Calabresos played in their game, considering they're playing at the same time. But Calabresos definitely coming into this one as the stronger team. Their 3-0 comparison to Team Queso's 3-2 is not looking too good for the red side.
And Arc on the other side here, I mean, do you echo the same sentiments? You were watching the...
Что страх слез ему? Счастье.
on because he's cold and with an here. You're right, the assertion that the Calabresos are on top. This is the upper card. Correct, absolutely. Queso, though, when you're coming up against the upper card, Trav, I always bring up the fact that you know what they like to play. There's a lot of tape on it. You can just watch their games and how they win and how they won last monthly finals. So Queso have a lot of tape to kind of draw from as opposed from the other side.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of like how much of Calabresos can they watch? How much can they analyze them? At the end of the day, they're a worse team. I hate to say it. You know, like, they can watch all they want, they can analyze all they want, but when it comes down to the gameplay and the drafts are done, it's all down to the gameplay. How it is. Team Queso have got so much to make up for that I don't know if the analysis or all of the watching they want to do with Calabresos is going to be enough.
Yeah, I think if I'm coaching this team, Arc, I look at Calabrasos, and I just tell Team Queso, like, all right, they're going to try to play through Kyle Dog, shut him down. You know, you put 4 players on Kobe. Obviously, can beat you. That's my thought.
You'll find a whole. I'll take away some of the aggressive ideas like the Max from Calabrasos, which they like to champion so much, and just try to work from there and just. I mean, it's quite a close poll there. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, cut down the center. Like I said, Team Queso has a lot of fans. This is a legendary org, and these players aren't unknown for sure. Bounty and Hideout is where we start. Arc and Trav, you'll have the call. I'll see you later.
Tough one to call, Trav, but I do stand with what you said. I'll be honest, you know, despite the poll being as close as that, just giving a slight bit of an edge to Team Queso. It was kind of surprising. That's surely about a lot of the organization having a strong community behind them. I'd imagine coming through there a little bit more than I was expecting to see. In all honesty, Gene is the first pick coming in for Hideout, and Bounty. Charlie is the response so far from Team Queso. But like, you know, like you say, you know, kind of 2 times world finalists, Dino 2 times world finalists, Vipro 3 times world finalists. That is what Team Queso are up against at the moment.
I mean, to be honest, I think the predictions are probably just because Team Queso have got a nice shiny badge. To be honest with you, I think that's probably for the most part. You know, Team Queso is a notorious org. You know, you expect them to sign, you know, one of the best teams in the region. And for those who don't really know Calabrasos as the name of Calabrasos, which is going to be quite common, it's not the most obvious thing pointing to a good team, is it really? So I'm not surprised that it's a little bit swayed towards Team Queso, but obviously they pick up the Charlie and the RT for the side of Team Queso. A couple of very, very solid picks. Magic Hand obviously going to be available for Kyle Dog with the Hypercharge along with it, sending 3 out now instead of 1. But at the same time, F. mentioned a little bit earlier, if it's not backed up by the right thing, it could definitely hurt you.
I was just literally just about to call it. It was so super obvious. And I said it coming into the matchup that, you know, for me, Team Queso need to ban brawlers like Max away from the hands of Firecrow. And, you know, it's a great pairing with the Gene. I mean, we've seen it time and time again across the regions, you know, this weekend long in the April monthly finals. You know, it really has come back into the meta now as that pairing. We haven't necessarily always seen the Sandy with that Gene Max combo coming back into the same sort of level of play, which is a bit of a surprise to me. But certainly the Max and the Gene now is that pairing. Team Queso just haven't banned out. Sure, they've got some good bans, though. They've been very observative to make sure to ban out the Melody as well as the Angelo and Byron. I mean, those are 3 heavy hitters, and you can't ban them all, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, how are we feeling about the B, though? Because in my eyes, a bit of movement speed, and it becomes hard for the B. And yeah, if they're not really sped up, which for the most part they probably should be if Ficrow's doing his job well enough, then it's going to be very difficult for the B, I feel.
On paper, you know, Max's speed, B is slow, so, you know, it should level out in B's favor, but it doesn't really translate that same way, and more so for the fact that this region love playing B. It's a very South American pick at this stage where we are in the meta. It's very sort of 2023 kind of brawler for me still. I mean, we saw it a little bit played around with by Samantha against in the EMEA region, but didn't really bring home the goods. I love the brawler, don't get me wrong, it's one of my favorite brawlers to play, and the pattern of the Sting is so strong, can just secure kills quickly in a mode like Bounty where you need that for the objective, but I'm a bit on the fence so far when it comes to it, so, you know, in this kind of draft.
That's a good job. Ficrow had those rocket laces there. He was in a bit of a tough position, but did manage to escape. He's hitting a good shot onto Kyodog there, bringing him up quite low. But the magic puffs, obviously coming in from the Gene, going to be super, super helpful when these guys want to heal. But aggressive rocket laces there. Not sure how I feel about that one. And it does just have to back off and pretty much make it useless.
Speed now. Kyodog coming in, and the healing as well, much needed from Adino, consistently so. Not really going to come out with much, but the gadget away from the Charlie is one thing. Spider's now out as well for the missed magic hand, and there's the honeypot as well. Just a good safe measure from Reese, and they're going to be able to exacerbate those. And Kyle picks up the left-hand side kill. That's actually going to give the lead to Calabrasos.
I mean, that was one of the most... all of them coming towards with this kill side on Ryan. The lead a bit more. Reese just evades it. Just goes down in damage as well. Gene just keeping them low. For Kyodog to have a speed, have a hypercharge, then they can make that aggressive move again.
Whistling down that utility, and it's these gadgets from Rocket Rain over the top as well, still helping hand things, but Reese still staying alive there. Oh, I spoke too soon. Firecrow with a lovely rocket and a jump over the wall for safety, and now the follow-up onto JXCR.
Dominate now. Slow, but it picked up quite quick as soon as it starts getting these super. Then there's another pull as well. Hypercharge used there by Kyodog. Didn't have a super long with it, but with 3 seconds on the clock, that is not going to matter at all. Calabrasos starting things.
the way, right? You don't waste your own trying to draw out those gadgets and just making sure that you've got that positioning power ideally over these weaker brawlers, and that Brock cures some of them here and there, way, but against them.
Inside, get the knock. Is all that's needed to finish. Firecrow is going to use a hyper charge against him. Try and get the catch up to get the Hack's gadget. Does come in useful quite often, but still they're aggressing. Adina with a magic hand and no husks and no spiders there for GXCR is not going to be helpful, and he gets punished for it.
A great time as well. Oh, Reese will fall yet again. I mean, this might be an absolute domination of this set so far. So good. Calibrations with 20 seconds on the clock. Hypercharge now for Kyodog and everyone going in. Adina's got the magic hand as well. Nice gadget placement, but instantly taken care of. Adina will pick it up. There's a trade on the other side of things, but there is the game and the set going the way of Calabrasos.
I don't know how to feel about it. It just felt like they weren't even really trying and still completely walking over their opposition in Team Queso. Calabrasos so much more to offer than that, I feel, and they finished it before the clock even hit 0. So worrying for Team Queso going forwards. Calabrasos, yes, they're the favourites coming into this one. Yes, Team Queso just had a long, grueling game, but still, you've got to have a better showing than that in the first set, otherwise, you know, it's kind of a bit of a bad omen for the rest.
The Calabrasos still looking so confident in their style and their drafting, and no one really challenging them just yet so far. I'd like to see Team Queso get a little bit of that into the equation, get a bit more back and forth, but I mentioned it before, I do feel like the Maxes to Charlie might be shift around to... We didn't really see any value that entire game with the Cocoon, and I don't think anyone on the squad, we didn't see any legs from Brian, we didn't see Reese kind of really getting much slow value either, because the face coming in, just as we speak, it shows how impressive this combination really is, and I think that's just a volumes when you consider just how dominant Charlie has been recently, not looking so strong there. I mean, that was a missed Cocoon there, but nonetheless, more than not, these utilities don't seem to stir Calabrasos, and I mean, those stats do say quite the story.
Yeah, 0-2-0 is not what you want from an entire... I mean, it was pretty much 4 minutes of bounty. To get 2 kills in the entirety of that is just not the best sign for Team Queso. Calabrasos, though, 7-2-5. Kyodog really showing his aggressive nature once more. Not on the Stu this time, but the Max is just as much as a threat for the other team as his Stu is.
We'll see more from JXR as well. He's a very aggressive player. We saw him do wondrous work last year with Buzz, and it just feels like the meta's not really in his favour at the moment necessarily, but maybe the next set will bring something better for Team Queso. Certainly this draft, I feel, just needs to be a little bit more shaped and designed towards Calabrasos. We were saying yesterday in the EMEA region just somewhat, because there are so many brawlers now that are must bans, and I mean, speaking of a great map for just that, I mean, you know, Nani, Piper's kind of considered highly in this region, so I think Angelo for me is the must ban compared to her though. Ultimately, Colette, we didn't see her picked earlier today, they're kind of considered very great amount of moments having that in your back spawn side. So I mean, you know, for me, Team Queso really considered greatly as to how they ban it. They ban meta, or do they ban to Calabrasos?
That is the question. I mean, Heist is one of those kind of modes that usually lasts the entire time and not finished with the safe being destroyed. But at the end of the day, with the Calabrasos here, I'm sure anything is possible. And they definitely have some players who are capable of playing these high DPS brawlers, Colt, Brock, that kind of thing, as we have just seen, and dominating the opposition as well. So possibly could take that kind of route. Bans obviously in, you're going to see the Angelo, the Melody, and I think it might have been the Chuck there. Colt was the first pick from Team Queso, possibly taken out of the hands of Calabrasos here. It was the Chuck, and then the Piper, Chuck, and Byron, the bands on the other side. Bell going to be the first pick, though, from Calabrasos.
Yeah, checking both sides. I kind of, in my brain, just eradicate Chuck, because I'm thinking that no team's going to leave it open, right? So, good to see that both sides are on that same page, but the Colt, it's very, very scary. Brock as well now coming in for Team Queso. The Eve and the Bell pick, you know, very kind of traditional ideas. I do like the Bell here, but you know, it's going to be considered for potentially that 8 to follow up. I mean, that's where I would be looking to achieve with it. I think Bell, even AB would be a good play, and it's a troublesome thing now for Team Kiss if they are thinking that same idea, because Bell into AB is going to have a great time. And let's see what they figure out themselves. Charlie going to come in. That's a very solid pick as well for me. I think in terms of the draft for me, not ending up really kind of scuffing over here. I think it's relatively good from both sides so far. Let's see what Calibrations pick up next.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, just in case, I feel like Brock's kind of maybe got to take the mid here, and it's not the mid brawler that you want, right? You kind of want to send Brock down one of those lanes, have the free pickings towards the safe. They don't have a amazing mid, you know, a Nanny, a Bell, a Piper, something like that. And we're going to see the Carl slotting in here as well. It can go aggressive, it can slice through some of those spiders, but also when it does go aggressive, Charlie can just cocoon it quite quick.
Interesting. We haven't really seen Carl very much. It's drifting into the meta somewhat a little bit. We do tend to see a kind of like oddball brawler coming into safe zone sometimes. It's the it is very fitting in their playstyle. It's that aggressor and getting behind in those top and left hand side corners. That kind of does say a lot about this squad and team. Time the Calibrations is going to be all damage on that safe.
Oh, in we go. Flying hook over to the right hand side here, trying to take some early control here against Breeze. Taking very heavy fire from the Brock, though not able to get that final connection, and that actually might punish his teammate. The rest of Calibrations winning their lanes as well. Breeze does just narrowly survive, but a nest egg going to be placed down in the mid here by Fycro. Early lead though for Calibrations, but not the most control now.
Nice shove away there from Adinho, and now just keeping himself a distance from Brian. Breeze trying to creep forwards here. Kaido with a nice flying hook over the river there on the right hand side. Doesn't get Breeze taken care of though in the process. Firecrow will, and that is key. Those big taps as well from Dino now as well. The hatchlings coming in. Give Calibrations a bit more than the
The JCR's managed to get himself that wall break, frees up a bit of room for him to roam around this mid, but he's not even getting to the mid. And Kaidog, as he mentioned, in this aggressive right-hand side pocket, should just choose to kind of stay around that angle with the onto the Bell. They're kind of lost. But Brian now eventually getting up JCR, damage gear activated, hypercharge 2, gonna rain down some rockets on that safe. Said it kind of does, you know, maybe around about the same amount as a normal super at that point. Kaidog going aggressive. TKSO have taken the lead though, and that's just off one push alone.
Yeah, I feel like the Brock Hypercharge is definitely going to get a tuning later down the lines. Firecrow landing the mark on JCR. Now the response coming in from Calibrations. There was a lot of damage on their safe, and they want to make up for lost time here. Kaidog going to be super instantly eradicated though by Reese on that right. But if they can get now Brian taken care of and Firecrow joining the damage side, plenty of time now for Calibrations to steal this lead.
Brian just couldn't connect those shots onto Adinho there, and he did manage to get out. Incendiary doesn't bring it down in time, and that's going to be some hatchlings coming through. Now the aggression from Calibrations, and they're the kind of team who have this draft that needs to keep control for the majority of the game, because we've seen how much damage Queso can do in 25 seconds. Walk around about. We need to see something from Team Queso. And Calibrations holding strong for now. Eventually these spiders come through, but Adinho picks up that side. Reese going onto the safe. Brock moving towards that position where he can get damage too. And if he gets there, it's going to be difficult for Calibrations.
What a beautiful pinch on that right-hand side, and as quickly as that, two of Team Kiss members fall. Brian's the last man standing with the amount of time to get some damage, but Kaidog is ensuring it. I don't know whether the JXL is realistically going to even reach the safe nor Reese. Now just the one, and that'll be another game going the way of Calibrations.
Well, that was fast once more. It did take quite a while, but those aggressive pushes. We saw literally one push from Team Queso. And they took the lead, but they couldn't get another one. Towards the end there, we saw them going forwards, the Brock, the Colt. If they can get on safe from that little pocket, they can do so much damage. But as you mentioned, the pinch that Calibrasos got was just too dangerous for Team Queso to really do anything.
It really was wonderful. I mean, just making sure the Firecrow is landing those shots to ricochet between the two. Great stuff from Calibrasos in this second set. And one more game, and they'll secure it themselves too. You can see again a little bit more from Team Queso, a bit more of a side of confidence, a few more pushes as well. It's like you said, just the one is not going to cut it. Kaidog now in a good positioning. He's got the gadget as well, of course, the flying hook to be able to insert even more aggression onto this safe and keep Brian on the defense going in now, and a great time for it. Lovely protected pirouette from here, cancelled out though by the Rocket Laces, but followed up by Firecrow, who's able to clear out house.
Yeah, well, Just see Adinu keeping back the Colt here. He's doing a little bit of a clown pin, a little bit of a spin, but super going to be missed from Brian, and that's definitely going to deflate their push a bit, especially with these bounces from the bell shots coming through now, landing onto Brian and Colt. Carl just going to slide around. Miss a shot in there, though. Almost cost himself. Oh, almost evades that entire rock super, but just clips him with that last rocket.
Yeah, brutal pixel there on that final rocket, but JXL now low on that left-hand side. Brian going to pop a hypercharge here as well, and Reed's going to connect with the safe. Mikado comes in with a lovely protective pirouette, gets both players down, and now exuding damage onto the safe and gives themselves the lead.
Yeah, I mean, just slightly, though. 4% is all that Team Queso need to get done. That's literally one Brock shot. Fycro moving forward, so they're going to want to keep the control for the rest of this game. He's forced forwards as the Brock super lands behind him. There's the cocoon as well, but now the spawners coming in. They're trying to push out, but by this time, Adinu should have some good tanking for him, and Brian in a tough position once more. Does go down. Kaido picks up his super and evades a Colt super by it. Has the damage gear active, but can't find the connecting blow onto Reese, but the bounce back from the bell resets his healing and puts him in a bad position once again.
Viper is getting so much utility from this save, just bouncing those shots between players, keeping Team Queso back, keeping them low, keeping them on defense. Hypercharge now marked up his race as well. Just one tap and he will go. Brian soon to follow shortly as well. It's a very firm grip hold on this offense here from Calibrations. Team Queso now with 15 seconds to respond. I just don't see how it's going to be possible unless Reese can bring some magic.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a mark on him as well. I just don't see it happening. And also, Kaido's still up top, and he's not being defended. 30% left, and he carries on hitting that save too. Calibrations moving 2 sets up against Team Queso now. A lot better for Team Queso in this second set, but still nowhere near what Calibrations are bringing to the table.
Exactly that. It wasn't quite the same as the first set. Team Queso seemed a bit more sure of themselves, made a couple more plays and played better as a squad. But again, they're just struggling against this aggressive nature of Calibrations, which is something which they have control over in those drafting stages a little bit more, and we're not really kind of seeing that come to the forefront. At the moment, I feel like Calibrations are still getting the picks that they want to have, the picks that they know they can work with and get good results with, and that's what's the troublesome thing so far. At the moment, it just seems like a little bit of a mismatch situation, and Calibrations just storming ahead yet again, and it's going to take a lot of mistakes for them to crumble, I feel, on this series.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the set highlights now, and I can only imagine that there's not really going to be too many highlights for Team Queso, and I don't mean that in a bad way. We just didn't really see them over that half of the map much. Here's the pretty much only signs of damage they got in that second game, and it was quickly swept up by Kaido, and he just chooses to go on the aggressive instantly. You know, leave the Brock, your two teammates are spawning back in, and that's what Calibrations do so well. That team play, along with that kind of controlled aggression.
Yeah, that Carl doing very much the same job that we saw with the Sam yesterday, and just kind of staying in his back pocket. It's so difficult to deal with, and if you don't secure the kill and you try and go on the aggressive and go on the offensive, then you're leaving someone on the safe. Fired with 14 kills with the bell says a huge story to me. So much before it, Team Queso didn't really know how to deal with it on that defensive, and just didn't really kind of value how much those shots are going to ricochet between the safe and the players. Adino as well had a great game. Kaido, as we saw. We want to say more about Team Queso, but we're just not really seeing enough to warrant it.
I know, it's really, really tough. 14 for Fycro is huge, though. Adino 9 and 8 as well. But JXR matching on the other side, getting 9 of his own. Brian and Reese not finding the same look there as well, and Brian really had a tough time against both the Carl and against the Eve. Couldn't find a lane that he could really do anything on. Reese was doing his bit, he was getting some damage, especially in that first game. He rained down on safe quite a lot, but Brian just couldn't find a matchup that favoured him.
Well, down to what could be the final set here for Team Queso in the April monthly finals. Let's see, it's now or never for them to remain in the competition. Rustic Arcade, Gem Grab coming in, obviously a wide open space map, so you're going to be considering heavily that Angelo Bell. We haven't really seen any of him this week, a little bit here and there, but not that much. Bell, Charlie Leon as well is in a very good spot for this particular map in this region. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of Mr. P. We haven't really seen any of it yet today, and I was hoping to for this region, but I think Stu, Spike as well, the kind of common South American picks, highly valued in that regard. And let's see, Melody, I think it's got to be there, and it is, as well as the Andrew and the Byron on the right-hand side there. Bell first pick there for Calibrations, along with the bands of the Larry and Laurie, the Piper, and the Max. I think the Max band for me is quite key here as well.
Well, Gene there for Team Queso now. I do like the Gene with the hypercharge. It can turn a game massively. You know, if you stood in a roundabout the same position, you can, you know, possibly knock all 3 lanes if they're stood behind the walls here, back in spawn. But I like what Kaido did bring to the table. If they choose to take something like a mech, they can, you know, mark it up, get them out of the mech quite quickly, and then take advantage of that. But obviously they did choose to take the Gene, so shouldn't really be playing Meg along with it, I wouldn't imagine, considering Meg usually does play that mid role, which Gene will be slotting straight into. You know, don't write it off though. Meg can do a lot more than just roam through the mid on this map. Second pick should be coming in just in a second. They've got a long way to go if they want to catch up with Calabrasos here. Possibly a Max, I was going to say, to pair with the Gene, but it's going to be to do something, you know, still aggressive, but not really providing any aggression to the Gene as well.
You know, I mentioned it because it's very South American, but I'm not a massive fan of Stu here. I mean, it's going to be okay, but it's a wide open map and can struggle for that very reason. Speed Zone, I'm sure, going to be the flavor of that Stu as well on the gadget side. Carl going to come in from Team Queso side as well. I mean, you know, this kind of product that can make some good statements about with the goods, so I don't necessarily mind it. And Carl is drifting like in the pre a little bit more at the moment, still a little bit more on the fence. I think there's some better ideas that could be implemented here. Charlie wasn't picked at all, and I think that's one that's definitely worth some of the ideas. But the mech as well, paired with that bell, and it's quite a nice pairing there with the roughs as well. I think over time, Calabrasos are only going to get stronger if they play this right.
That does make sense, and Kaido starting off strong, getting 1 gem and attempting to get this one off the opposing team's side as well, but a quick little lane swap from Team Queso wasn't really taken advantage of by Calabrasos. I feel, you know, when they're swapping, you can push up those lanes quite successfully. But at the moment, just choosing to play it slow, calculated, just as they've been doing so far.
Well, Farco going super on the aggressive here, out of mech, but not the worst of things. The aggression of Reese might be though, and Kaido can help out that right-hand side, so he will fall. This mark there as well from Kaido. Down really low here as well. Reese could have gone in on the aggressive, chose not to. Gonna buy some time for Kaido to not be able to get back into the mid. Now with the supply drop handed over though from Dino. Let's see, big slow to Brian. Drop down to 5. The gems are taking. I mean, it's going on the left-hand side. It goes down regardless. A terrible start for Team Queso.
Might have been the best nesting I've ever seen. Paul almost makes the connection on Skydog, but Ficro going to have to survive here as well. JXR misses that shot. You've got to hit that to get the reset. Brian so low on the left as well. No pull in sight. Nothing can be done to turn this one round. Calabrasos sits in spawn. Kaido 10 gems over his head, and they head into match point.
It's moments like that and mistakes that you just cannot afford to make, when the other side of the coin will reveal a match point against you. And Calabrasos, again, don't seem to be looking any signs of sweating in this matchup. It looks like an outmatch. And for Team Queso, they have to change so much now to even think about taking it to a set, let alone a 5th set.
Well, we'll see if they're able to do too much here. Vengeful Spirits comes out early, brings Kaido to about half HP along with a shot from Reese from the right-hand side, with great taps now turning around. Vengeful Spirits number 2 and a shot to follow up, gets the kill on the mid. Odinho throws that super back, just providing a nice little power-up to his mid player in the Gene. Firecrow very, very low, should drop out a mech here, but survives on a little bit longer. Reese coming aggressive now, trying to get the kill, but actually ends up going down and feeding Firecrow a lot towards his next mech.
Brian using the gadget there. Dignity's kind of low here, but JXL could not finalize the kill. Gonna come down with a flying hook and get some damage. Staying alive as well, 800 HP, allowing Brian to pick up those gems from the mid. Now Reese will reposition himself there as well on that right-hand side. Calabrasos going to break through his defensive line now, and the magic hand available to Brian is definitely a concern. Sandbags for Adino if he tried. I'm sure the target would be Kaido. Got to land, and the super's got to hit.
Yeah, swipe available, which means rival gems over. With a powerful Kaido puts him in a decent position to win the majority of matchups throughout this great JXR. Benji gets a beautiful shot, gets 1, gets 2. It falls as well. JXR huge for Team Queso. This is going to be so comeback in this set, because that one singular play from absolutely phenomenal, turning the tides of the game. You know, they were winning it anyway, but you know, if you can take out all 3 members of the team,
honestly want to play, but my concern is that Team Queso can't rely on JXL to have to do that every single time. Gotta start playing better together as a squad.